fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. For your latest news and high school sports, tune in to the fish report. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole. When you tune in to the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. Hanging at the fish report. You got Craig and TK and Head Left D tuned in at the fish report.
Coming to you live from Studio F in Russia, Ohio. It's the Fish Report Live Show with your hosts, Craig Fissinger and Ken Francis.
Tune in to the fish report.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another Fish Report Live. Thanks for waking up with us. I'm Craig Fissinger. That is Ken Francis. We're your host. Back in our sound room this morning, it's TK and Heavy D. We'll talk to them a little bit later in the program. And out in Studio R, it's just Covey, and that's because Kearns has the week off, or maybe he overslept. I don't know. But, Ken, I got my Made for More coffee mug this morning. I'm ready to go.
It's good and hot, too, this morning, Craig. I tell you what, we got a big show planned for everybody this morning, and glad you could all be with us early. And, we got a interesting interview this morning here with Aubrey Thobe, the multi-sport athlete from Marion Local. She leads the Flyers in volleyball. She does it on the track and field as well in the spring. Like I said, multi-sport athlete. Craig, really looking forward to talking to the star over there at Marion Local and Aubrey Thobe. We're going to cover some volleyball. We're going to cover some football. We got a lot of stuff planned for everybody this morning.
Yeah, a little bit of everything, like you said, and hard to believe we're going to be talking some postseason tonight. Of course, golf is in the already at the furthest point in the postseason. They're playing over at State this weekend, and do want to say special or good luck actually to Fort Laramie, the boys over there, the Minster boys. I know Spencerville's there, Newton's there. Got one individual from St. Henry on the boys' side playing, as well as the St. Henry Lady Redskins. The girls are over there, the only neighboring community I know of over there in the state tournament. But best of luck to all those golf teams.
Absolutely, Craig. Like you said, we're at the end of the golf season. We got league championships in cross country coming up. We've got big games in football, and the volleyball championships, league championships have pretty much wrapped up, and we're looking postseason for that as well.
Yeah, so you mentioned cross country. Let's talk about that. Let's start out talking about that this morning. And there's good places to watch cross country meets, and there's some not so good places to watch. Well, the SCAL has their league championship coming up this Saturday at Russia, and I would say Russia is probably one of the better places to watch a cross country meet.
Totally agree, Craig. Really looking forward to the race on Saturday morning at Russia Park. The Athletic Association there does a tremendous job of putting on the event. You're going to have several good races, junior high boys, girls, high school boys and girls, and a great venue there. You get to see the kids running a lot. There's a couple of nice hills that they go up and down. It's a challenging course, Craig. The times typically aren't super fast. A lot of curves, a lot of twists, a lot of turns in the event. So really looking forward to that one on Saturday morning.
Yeah, and in the girls' race, I know you've talked about it this season. Some of the favorites in Fort Laramie has certainly been one of the favorites on the girls' side and the boys' side. But on the girls' side, they've been led by that freshman over there, Olivia Borchers. I know she won a race last Saturday over at the Coldwater Lions, which is always a big event over there. She's going to be my favorite coming into this race, but she'll have some challenges by some other locals from the Shelby County League here. And I think as far as the team challenge goes, Laramie's very deep. I think they're probably the clear-cut favorite. If anybody's going to give them a challenge, it may be Russia. They're led, of course, by sophomore Becca Sager over there, as well as Ella Haney. They're freshmen. She usually is running second for them here later in the season. But I think Laramie is probably the clear-cut favorite on the girls' side.
Totally agree with that, Craig. Like you said, Russia's had a nice year. The Botkins girls are coming on strong as well, Craig. So, but yeah, look, it's definitely Fort Laramie's race. They're really deep. They've got a lot of talent right now. And, it comes in phases. Fort Laramie had it for a long time. Then Russia took over, dominated the cross-country events for about 8 to 10 years. Now Fort Laramie's starting to take it over again. So, but again, on the girls' side, you're going to see Fort Laramie bringing home the gold medal. On the boys' side, Craig, agree. I think it's going to be Fort Laramie on the boys' side as well. They're coming in ranked number 3 in the state of Ohio. The Houston boys got a very nice team as well, and as does Botkins. But I think definitely Fort Laramie will be the champion on the boys' side as well.
Yeah, we just see a picture up there on the monitor of Jake Raithman. Jake is my favorite to win this race on Saturday, and if he does, that will be, Ken, his 6th straight league title in the Shelby County Athletic League, and that goes all the way back to 7th grade. So
impressive.
Yeah, he's been a heck of a runner, and his closest challenge will probably come from his teammate Tom Bowles, although Tristan Freisteller from Housen, a senior, been running very well. And then Anna with a freshman, Lucas Smith. Actually, Anna and House have been running a lot of meets together, maybe 4 or 5 of them together here recently. And Lucas beat Tristan at the Bakken's whole meet, the best in the West. First time he's beat him all season. But those two very good runners right there, as well as, again, like I said, Joe Ballas. They'll all be challenging Jake for that title.
Absolutely.
So, all right, Ken, well, let's we'll look forward to that. Hopefully we'll see a lot of you out there at Russia Village Park for that big race on Saturday. Should be a lot of fun. Should be some great weather. But let's change gears now and talk a little football. And for that, we're going to go out to Studio R, check in with Covey out there. And Covey, good morning. You know, I look at this MAC schedule, and I hate to say this, but I think this is probably the best week of matchup that I've seen all season. I don't hate to say it, but we're at that point of the season where we kind of know where everyone's at, and I think this schedule is as good as it gets right now.
Yeah, we're starting to get to the breaking point here. A lot of great matchups taking place this week. I'd say highlighted. You know, I was talking to you, Craig, before the show, and it doesn't pop up in a lot of people's minds, but I think the biggest game here this week is New Bremen at Versailles. You know why I say this is because New Bremen, in the spot they are in, they play Versailles this week, who's been down a little bit in the MAC. They got Delphus St. John's, a favorable game they should win, and then a good matchup with Minster in Week 10. If they can win against Versailles Friday, I think they should likely win over Delphus in the playoffs. See what happens against Minster, but if they lose, it shouldn't matter because if they win the next 2 games, they should have their first playoff berth in 14 years. And I'm going to take the Cardinals here in a tight, close, contested game at Versailles. It'll be a very good game, and I'm rooting for New Bremen to hopefully get their first playoff appearance since 2004.
Yeah, that'd be something else. Or what a turnaround the New Bremen football program has had over the last couple of years, Kobe. And, you know, I see them going into Versailles there. It's homecoming at Versailles, you know. But like you said, Versailles has kind of had a down year. Depends kind of what Versailles team shows up. You know, they've played pretty well. They've played competitively some games this year. But some games, Kobe, they've just come out and have not been ready to play football. So we'll see what happens Friday night. But if they're not ready to play, I agree with you. Look for the Cardinals to get out of Tiger Town with a win.
Yeah, and Anna plays at Coldwater. Anna had a good shootout win over Fort Recovery, 39-34. Traveling to Coldwater, I think Coldwater will win this by about a touchdown. These two teams used to be formerly of Division 5. Anna's sitting at the number 4 rank in Division 5, Region 18 right now. Coldwater, the top seed there in Division 6. Coldwater holding the edge over Marion for that number 1 spot because their secondary points, that win over Clinton Massey, really helped them have that number 1 hold. I'm going to take the Cavaliers here, 28-21. Another game, I think it's a trap game too for St. Henry at Fort Recovery this Friday. You know, Fort Recovery probably won't make the playoffs, being sub 500 right now. I think they can just play spoiler right now, and St. Henry could be a little vulnerable after a big 20-point win over Minster. That was a little more than I think a lot of people expected. So Fort Recovery definitely has the talent to knock off them, and St. Henry fans are going to be looking forward to that Coldwater game next week. But they can't do that because if they lose this Fort Recovery game, it's going to be really tough for them to beat Coldwater and try to get to the playoffs. Forget who they play Week 10, but they should have a favorable matchup. I think it might be Parkway. So I think if they win against Fort Recovery, they're sitting at the 8th seed right now. They should be a favorite to get in the playoffs. And then Marion plays at Minster. You know, Marion, like we said, has been getting slow to get out of the gates here. Minster coming off a heartbreaking loss. They're sitting 3rd right now in the Division 4 Region 28 standings. I'm going to have to go with the Flyers again by about a 3-touchdown score. And also just to backtrack a second, I'm going to go St. Henry in a close game against Fort Recovery.
You know what I like about football, guys, is the fact that you know we're heading into Week 8 here, and a lot of times these playoff games don't get decided until Week 10, and it's so neat to see. You know, the other sports, you kind of vote on them in advance. Everybody makes the playoffs. You kind of know how things are going to shake out before the regular season is going. It's one of the things that makes football so neat is that sometimes it does come down to Week 10 before we know exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, it makes it awful hard to prepare, I guess, for a playoff game when you really have no idea who you're going to be playing until those schedules are released, and typically in that case, usually 6 days later, you're playing a football game, a playoff game. So the format for high school football in Ohio, I think, is very good right now. They're bringing 8 teams. I think it's a great setup, and we're going to see how it plays out over the next couple weeks.
Yeah, Minster sitting at 3 seed, like I just mentioned, in Region 28 here, just behind Convoy, Crestview, and Laramie. I was just looking at the stats here. Laramie, the big reason they're number 1 is their secondary points right now. We've talked about the past couple weeks beating 2 Division 5 teams. They have 120 secondary points right now. That's crazy. That's really good for the Redskins right now. They're guaranteed that home playoff game. Probably won't lose grip of that number 1 spot. I see them playing Minster in a regional final game, and I think it'll be a very good game, probably at a site like Piqua or Wapak, and one of those teams will go to state.
Great stuff, Kobe. That's always good to hear from you and your view of how things are going to shake out.
Yeah.
Again, it's a lot of fun this playoff season, or heading to the playoff season, and it's going to be fun to watch going on in Week 10.
Yes, it will.
Just one quick thing before I go, just like to congratulate the Russia Raider volleyball team on their league title last night. Wrapped it up in a 3-set win over Houston. Probably just took them a little under an hour, but it was a good win over Houston. An improving team in Houston. They gave the Raiders all they could handle for 3 sets. So, congratulations to the Raiders, and good luck to all the area teams in the local volleyball tournament.
Totally agree with that, Covey. The Russia Raiders had a great season in volleyball. Congratulations also to the co-champion, Jackson Center Tigers, who shared the title with the Russia Raiders. And like you said, league championships are very important. It helps build the program, and obviously it's important to those that are winning the league title. When you don't win the league title, then obviously it's not quite so important. But again, congratulations. But the postseason's upon us, and that's what a lot of teams look forward to. And here we go, flip it on, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, congrats to Jackson as well. My bad on missing them.
Great stuff, Kobe. Yeah, Ken, at the beginning of the season when I looked at that SCAL and the volleyball teams, I wouldn't have been able to predict that Russia certainly would have came out on top. And Jackson Center, they were one of my favorites, but I thought Anna and Fort Laramie might figure in that equation as well. And it was very fun regular season.
Totally agree with that. Anna's got a great team. Fort Laramie's got a great team. They were hurt by a big injury in the middle of the year, and but a lot of good young talent there for the Redskins. They're definitely going to be a team to be heard of. The Anna Rockets, of course, in Division III, a very good volleyball team, and then so you take Russia, Laramie, Lehman Cavaliers, Jackson Center, of course, and then you throw in a MAC school at the regional. It's going to be some type of a regional here in volleyball in this area.
Well, we're going to talk more about that here in just a little bit, but we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to have that more volleyball talk. We're going to talk some MAC with Marion Local star Aubrey Thobe. And welcome back to the second half of Fish Report Live. We've been talking SCAL volleyball season, and one league we haven't touched on is the MAC. To help us out with that is our next guest. She is a 5'10" senior volleyball star over at Marion Local High School, where she plays outside hitter and currently leads the Flyers in kills the last I checked. Joining us on the program now is Aubrey Thobe. Aubrey, welcome to Fish Report Live.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Well, listen, your Flyers are playing very well right now. I noticed on Tuesday you came back to beat a very good Coldwater team, started down 0-2, came back and won that one in 5. You play in arguably the toughest conference in Ohio in volleyball, and having a great season as outside hitter, as I just said. Aubrey, are you having a pretty good start to your senior year?
Yeah, I really think so. This season's been a lot of fun, and I really enjoy playing with all the girls on the team this year. The bench is a lot more fun this year than I think it usually is. If I'm not doing so good on the court, I'll usually come out pretty upset, but then the girls on the bench always are able to make me laugh and hype me up. So when I go back in, I'm always ready to play again. So that's pretty cool to see that, and it's a lot of fun this year.
Well, as I mentioned, this is our first time talking MAC volleyball on our show, and you mentioned all those girls on the bench. For our viewers out there that aren't familiar with the Flyers, can you tell us who's all on your team and maybe who's playing well this season?
Yeah, I think we have a pretty strong team this year as far as everyone being equally as good as each other. For our hitters, typically we're pretty even across the board each game when it comes to kills. And our two captains are always Natalie Ressman and Carrie Festemeyer. Carrie got her 1,000 digs this year, and then she also got the school record for most career digs. And then Natalie also got 1,000 assists this season. I think our back row's also done a pretty good job with adjustments. Ava Rose used to hit, but she stepped up and played. She made the decision to just play only back row this year, and then Rachel Partington also stepped into the libero shoes. So. Yeah.
Aubrey, good morning to you, and thanks for joining us on a show. This is Ken Francis, and I'd like to ask you a few questions about tonight's game. You take on the New Knoxville Rangers. They come in at 2-5 on the year in the MAC. They're ranked 12th in the state of Ohio, which just shows you the strength of the MAC right there in volleyball. But more importantly, it's senior night at the hangar at Marion Local, and obviously you're looking forward to that, being a senior. It's a special night for you and your team. What's it going to take to get past New Knoxville, and what other special things do you look forward to in tonight's game?
Yeah, I think like you mentioned, definitely the fact that it's senior night. I think it's going to make us want to kick it up a notch and want to win even more. And even though Knoxville has a 2-5 conference record and state rank of number 12, they beat New Bremen at a tournament the other weekend, and I think we just have to keep that in mind because we lost to Bremen in 5 last Thursday, and they've had some pretty close games with other conference teams that they lost to. They're a pretty scrappy team this year, and I think they're a stronger team than that they've been in the past. So I think we just have to go out and worry about our side of the net, be ready to dominate on some long rallies.
Aubrey, let's talk a little bit about your head coach, someone we know here very well, and that's Coach Schultze, who at the time the last we interviewed her, it was actually Coach Erica Folenkamp, but she heads the Marion Local program, has had an excellent few years there as the head coach. Tell us a little bit about your head coach, what she does to make things fun over there for the Marion Local Flyers.
Yeah, the 3 years that I've been on varsity, I've always liked Coach Schultze because she's more of an encouraging coach. She doesn't usually like to yell, and she likes to have fun with us girls. I wouldn't say she's childish, but she definitely knows how to have fun at the right times. We went down to Cincinnati for a tournament a few weeks ago, and we ate at Dave & Buster's Saturday night, and it was her idea to go out to eat there because most of us haven't been there before. But afterwards, we played games because Dave & Buster's is basically an adult version of Chuck E. Cheese, and she got her game coins, and I've never seen anyone run so fast to play games in my life. It was really funny. And then afterwards, everyone combined their tickets, and we got a big stuffed teddy bear, and we now bring it to every game.
Well, that sounds like my kind of coach. That's for sure. Hey, Aubrey, this is Craig again. I know you're focused on tonight right now, but I do want to ask you about the tournament draw that took place last Sunday. And your district is absolutely loaded. I think you got 5 of the top 12 teams in Ohio in that district, meaning only one of those teams can actually come out and go to the regional. How do you feel about that?
Yeah, that definitely sucks. I've always hated that about our district because, people might ask, like, how far you got in tournament, and it might not even be that you got past, like, district semis. For example, like, we're more than likely to play St. Henry in the district semis game this year, and they're ranked number 1 in the D4 state volleyball right now, and Marion's ranked number 4. So, yeah, it definitely sucks that, like, either a number 1 or number 4 state-ranked volleyball team has to get out at district semis already.
Aubrey, this is Ken again, and not to push the volleyball season aside, but I want to talk a little bit about the spring sport, and you're obviously very talented in track and field. You're a very good long jumper. You're an excellent hurdler. You've been very successful during your tenure at Marion Local in track and field. This combined with your volleyball skills, what are your plans for the future? Do you want to run track and field? Do you want to play a little volleyball? Or what do your college plans look like right now?
Yeah, thanks. I visited a couple of D2 or 3 schools for track, but they didn't specifically have what I want to major in because I think I want to major in something like fashion merchandising. So after high school, I kind of just want to focus on my education at a larger school, and right now I'm looking into mostly like Ohio State, Kent State, and Ball State.
Aubrey, I got one more question before we let you go, but I couldn't let you go tonight without asking about some pictures I saw of I guess, probably a couple of months ago, but you were down there at Browns. I don't know if it's a training camp or the preseason, but I'm a Browns fan here, and I'm kind of outnumbered, one of the few ones here. But you got a chance with your family to go down there and visit the Cleveland Browns. And I think we have some pictures on our monitor here right now of your family in the radio studio, and then some other pictures of you with Myles Garrett and your dad over there with the quarterback there, Baker Mayfield.
Yeah.
Pretty awesome stuff there. What was that experience like?
Yeah. That experience was pretty awesome. My mom was the one that got that all set up, and basically we went to Cleveland that day just thinking we would get to watch their practice, and, like, that would be that. But they really outdid themselves for my dad and my family. Like, I didn't expect to get to talk to some of the players, and then they gave my brother Gavin a football to, like, get signatures from some of the players. And then probably one of my favorite parts was towards the very end when their head coach kind of gave the chance for my dad to give a short speech to the team and give the break, and I think that was probably a moment that none of us will forget.
Listen, Aubrey, that's pretty special and touching stuff right there for you and your family. So, but listen, we appreciate you being on our show tonight. Did an excellent job. You're having a great career at Marion Local High School, and we wish you the best of luck in this postseason. Best of luck in track and field in the spring, and appreciate you taking the time out to be on our show.
Yeah, no problem. Thanks again for having me.
Absolutely. Good luck to you.
Thanks. Bye.
Goodbye.
All right, that was Marion Local senior star Aubrey Thobe, and yeah, we this won't be the last we see her. We'll see her during the volleyball season, and we'll see her again in the spring out on the track as well. Very talented.
Yes, she is.
All right, Ken. Well, let's go back to the sound room and check in with TK and Heavy D back there, guys. Good to see you again this week. Good morning, and TK, we were talking about volleyball a little earlier. Hope we didn't steal your thunder there, because I know you're a big volleyball fan and didn't call the game last night because I think you wanted to take in a little bit of senior night or take in the league championship, huh?
Yeah, I did, Craig. I figure no reason to broadcast. Everybody should have been up there that wanted to know what was going on. It was probably wasn't the best game the Raiders played all year, but it was a 3-set win. It was for the championship, and they got it. Just a lot of fun. As you said, we did a bunch of games this year. Got to know the girls a little bit better by calling those games, and just fun to watch them finish up with 11 in a row. Shelby County wins and a tie for the championship with Jackson Center. So it was a lot of fun to be there.
Compliments to you and TK and your crew that helped do those games. It was typically Covey and sometimes Craig here, but great job covering those games all year. I know a lot of people really appreciated it and listened to the game, so good job.
Well, TK, I know we like to talk football out here, especially MAC and a little bit of CCC, but you went and saw an OHC game last weekend, didn't you?
Yes, I did. An old boyhood friend of our family, my brother and I, and he is now, Mike McKenna, he is the coach of the Springfield Catholic Central Fighting Irish. He's been assistant coach forever, just took over the head coaching job So we had to go over and see our buddy, Mike McKenna. So a big shout out to Mike and everything he's trying to do over there. Struggling program, if anybody really follows the OHC from around here. They had a total of 15 kids available to play. That's 15 total kids available to play for Springfield Catholic Central. Struggling to bring in the numbers. We know football's down a little bit. Soccer is up at that school. So anyways, Mike does a great job with the kids. He's out there for them. The ones that want to play, he's there. And good job for him. And it's always about the kids, and he does a great job there. So another shout out to Mike and what he's doing there.
All right, and of course, we want to know who your SCAL Star of the Week is. I know it's a big week, a lot going on right now, lots of worthy kids, I would say, but who are you picking this week?
Well, I'm going to bend the rules a little bit more because it's my job to do that because this is my little spot. I'm going to pick the full lineup of the Russia Raiders and their volleyball team and their league championship. First time in 15 years, as we've said earlier in the program. So it was a team effort all year long, all the games we watched. It wasn't one kid every game. Different girls stood up and took the chance to be a hero in different games and different sets. And so just for all they did and the hard work to bring together that championship, I'm giving them the Player of the Year to the whole team. And we'll hopefully see some more individual standouts as we go forward through the playoffs and the state championships, and we'll hear some more about that.
I think that's a great pick there, TK. And let me throw in there, even though it's your gig there, Coach Aaron Watkins and his staff.
Coach, yeah.
I think they did a phenomenal job of building that team. He's got some great assistant coaches there as well. Even clear down into the junior high program. And not only during the volleyball season, he worked them hard over the summer. He had him in the gym a lot. He did a lot of posting on social media, telling the kids what to expect, what they were doing. So I think Coach Watkins deserves a pat on the back as well.
Yeah, good point, Craig. Ken. Good point, Ken. He took from seniors with a lot of talent down to sophomores and a freshman, and again built a great team and a lot of hard work on his side, and his assistant coaches obviously helped with building that program.
And it wasn't like the pressure wasn't on. They lost that very first league game of the season to Jackson Center, so all they had to do was go 11-0 and to get in the position they are. But great stuff and great pick there, TK. All right, Heavy D. Well, the Heavy D Ask Heavy D fans were getting a little restless tonight, and last night and this morning. They're sending me text messages saying, "Hey, I got questions for Heavy D, and he's not answering them." So what do you got this morning?
All right, let's go up north to our friend Don Mack, a faithful follower and listener of the show. Don asks Heavy D, what is Heavy D's favorite, most memorable sports moment? It could be one of his own or something he watched or something he witnessed. Well, when I played sports in high school, I averaged 1 point a game in basketball. So I don't really have any favorite sports moments of my own. But I do have a couple that, with the question from Don, that kind of brought back some good memories for me. One was September 17th, 1983. Mom and Dad, my brother and sister and I went down to Riverfront Stadium for Johnny Bench night. And flash up a picture here. Johnny Bench rode around the stadium on the AstroTurf there in a number 5 convertible. And lo and behold, he hit home run number 389, the last of his career, to tie the game. And I remember I was sitting in the right field fence, and we watched it fly over the left field fence, and Johnny got a standing ovation for about 10 minutes. So that was something that I'll never forget. And along those same lines, guys, probably something that we all can remember, back in 1999, we had the Cincinnati Reds go wire to wire. You got the Nasty Boys, you got Shotzi, you got Chris Sabo, you got Coach Lou Piniella, Billy Hatcher with his 7 consecutive hits in the World Series and sweeping the Oakland A's 4-0. Eric Davis breaking his wrist. The memories just keep coming and coming from that one. So, I never went to one of the playoff games, but I remember watching it from Medford Apartments down in UD with all my college buddies, and we broke some furniture by accident and might have had some beverages, but a lot of fond memories of the Nasty Boys and that crew going wire to wire, Barry Larkin, and that was a lot of fun. And finally, probably my favorite memory would be when the Russia 4x8 team girls won the state track meet a couple years ago. Ken's daughter was on the team. My daughter was on the team. Lauren Heaton, Emily Borchers, Claire Sherman,
Lauren Francis, they coming into the meet, they were ranked number 9th. The time was number 9th. We were just hoping for a podium finish. Started off the meet there, the track meets at bright and early in the morning is the first race, and they put down a heck of a time. Ended up winning the race by about 10 seconds, and that's something we'll never forget.
I remember about that moment. I was shocked. I remember thinking to myself, like you said, first thing in the morning, I remember thinking, what just happened? What just happened? And it was just a big surprise, and I'll never forget it as well.
Yeah, Heavy D, I'm glad that was one of your top moments, because that was probably one of my top moments.
That was the top. Yeah.
So.
All right, guys, great stuff with that. And that's going to wrap up our show here this morning, Ken.
Great show, everybody.
Yeah, it was. Like I said, getting excited about this postseason talk.
Absolutely.
And ready to go here. So as we wrap things up, we do want to say special thanks to our guest, Aubrey Thobe, for joining us this morning, getting up bright and early for the interview. Thanks to the guests out there for tuning in. Ken and I and the crew will all be back again next week, same time, same place. Until then, have a great week, everyone.
Hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond, hanging at the fishing pond. For your latest news in high school sports, tune in to the fishing pond. Don't need no bed, don't need no pole, when you tune in to the fishing pond, hanging at the